scab for the bosses. Don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Alrighty. Phoebe, I have a very important question for you.
Okay.
So I gotta paint the picture a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you are born, let's just say April 1st, 2001.
Okay.
That's your birthday.
Sure.
The movie Shrek is then released April 22nd, 2001.
A classic.
A classic, right? A certified cinematic slapper.
Slapper.
One would say.
Yeah.
And maybe this isn't the best, because when you're a child, you can't really understand movies that much. So let's say you're born 2 years earlier, 1999 in April.
Sure.
All right. I'm amending that part. So you're born in April. Shrek comes out April 22nd, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
You watch Shrek every single day of your life. It's your favorite movie.
Of course.
Because it's just,
Understandably.
again, a certified cinematic
slapper.
slapper. Yeah. You watch that movie nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
A few months later, 9/11 happens. A few months later, 9/11 happens.
Yeah, 9/11.
Would you feasibly, as a child, believe that Shrek led to 9/11?
Oh, no, yeah, those two incidents are heavily connected.
Forever linked in your mind,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if not in real life, really. I mean,
Yeah.
we could definitely draw some conspiracies here.
Oh, yes.
Like, but yeah, and also...
Was the plot of Shrek not the... Were they not basically trying to tell us Bush did 9/11?
I saw it around every corner in
Yeah.
that movie. Oh no, an alarm.
Jesus Christ.
It's
what was
all right.
happening? Oh, that was actually from, I fucking meant to set an alarm for 6 a.m. this morning, and I set it for 6 p.m., and apparently never turned it off, so.
But yeah, so I just, and also it is just interesting that when Shrek released, the World Trade Center did exist still.
That's really weird to think about.
It's weird to think about, huh? Yeah. The people who went and saw the movie Shrek in theaters.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Lived in a world where there was still a World Trade Center.
Yeah, which I mean, like, we did too, obviously, but like, but yeah, like, they didn't know that just months later, the World Trade Center would be gone.
Life as they knew it would change forever.
Pretty much, yeah, truly.
Yeah.
Not even pretty much, actually. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Little did they know that, like, the creation of the NSA was about to happen.
Yeah, to be a blissful 4-year-old seeing Shrek in the movie theaters, or the parent of a blissful 4-year-old seeing Shrek in the movie theaters in April 22nd, 2001.
Not knowing that every single move that you make was about to be monitored by the American government.
True. I'm for sure gonna start judging time by like where it is in relation to like when Shrek released.
Yeah.
Like
AS or A.
Exactly.
BS.
Yeah. BS. Yeah. It's like we're talking about like the Russian Revolution in like 1912, and I'm like, oh shit, that's 89 years before Shrek released. Good.
Shrek.
Oh, Shrek. I hope that math. That was fast math. I don't know.
I believe you. I would never question.
Yeah,
you
for
could have
sure.
said 11 years. I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, probably. What a time. But yeah, this is Remarks.
Hey, sorry about we didn't release this episode yesterday because I was busy.
You're doing gay shit.
I was doing gay shit.
Yeah, we were all doing gay shit.
It was really nice.
It was lovely.
I had a good time.
I had fun, actually.
Try some gay stuff today.
I was listening to Behind the Bastards, their most recent episode that dropped today, and Robert in the beginning asked the guest, he's like, "Are you having a good day?" And the guest was like, "Oh, absolutely not. Never. Haven't in 21 years."
Absolutely not.
And I was like, "Yeah, same."
Especially if you're on that show, your day's about to get way worse.
Ruined. Yeah. Which, hopefully that's how ours works too.
I'm hoping that's really what you're here for.
Yeah.
99% of the time.
Because that is 99% of the time what we do.
It's rare that we have an uplifting episode. This one's maybe sorta.
Yeah.
Like these last two, this one and the one right before.
I'd say that they're semi-uplifting in, like, theory, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe not
It's like,
seen to the
oh,
end.
hey,
but...
like, fascist dictators existed, so that's why, like, these anti-fascist groups had to exist. But, hey, the anti-fascist groups existed, so that's cool.
That's
you guys.
cool.
That's
Hey,
nice.
yeah. If you want uplifting content, you can subscribe to our Patreon.
I was just about to say that.
Oh, well, you say it too. I don't want to
Okay,
take that
hey,
from you.
if you guys want episodes that will make you have a good day, subscribe to our Patreon and find some funny, uplifting content on there.
True.
Except for kind of that one where we read that magazine that was like a little bit not quite as uplifting.
It was,
but it was funny. It was still funny.
Yeah. It was like less uplifting for sure, but like it was funny, and I feel like with the hindsight of that, like being the 80s, like
True.
it made it more funny, and like
True.
you can feel okay about laughing because we laughed at it and we're bisexual, so I feel like you get a pass.
Yeah. Subscribe to the Patreon to find out what we're talking about.
But yeah, so my name is Taylor.
Oh shit, we haven't even done that part yet.
That's all right.
Hi, I'm Phoebe.
And yeah, as I said before, this is the pod.
The pod.
The cat. You're telling me a podcast of this?
And it's called Remarks.
It's called Remarks. Should I take it away since I started the last time?
Take it away now.
Word. All right. Well, again, I'm talking about the Spanish Civil War. Last week, we had gotten up to right when the war was starting. Like, we had kind of set the stage. Spain kind of fucked up at this time. Lots of shit going on.
Yeah.
Power back and forth. And, yeah, so we're going to jump into it.
Hit it.
Picking up where we left off, General Emilio Mola would emerge as the leader of the National Conspiracy Network, working to overthrow the Republic. So we're a little bit before the war, just doing a little recap here. The Republican government had removed Francisco Franco along with a slew of other suspect generals who they felt had sympathies with the conservative government, the Catholic Church, or the monarchy. Franco was sent to command the Canary Islands off of the coast of Africa. Mola himself would be relocated to the Republic, by the Republic, to head the African army under Spain's rule at the time. So just areas in Africa that Spain controlled. Because imperialism.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Mola's original vision was more of a Republican regime than like a fascist dictatorship. He wanted the military to control everything for a short time and reform a bunch of shit to help give back the land to landowners and whatnot. He even originally wanted to keep the separation of church and state. This would not happen as the military would continually defer to the church more and more over the course of the war. And I think that that's one thing that like isn't necessarily emphasized as much as like this was a lot, like a large portion of this was very like Catholic Church fueled. And maybe not even necessarily like the official stance of the church, but like the Catholic, you know, God-fearing Spanish Catholics that were on the conservative end were very much like the Republic's trying to secularize and turn all of the kids gay, you know?
Sounds like modern Republicans.
Yeah, sounds like
America.
True. But the Republic is the Republicans, I guess. I kind of don't call them that for confusion's sake, but
fair enough.
they are like the liberals at this time because, you know.
Right, yeah. The switcheroo.
Good old switcheroony. And just everything's backwards in America. Like red is like the conservative side and blue is not.
Right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Dumb.
Once the attack took place, the Republican leader who was there was replaced by Jose Guerral, who distributed weapons among civilians. This helped the Republic defeat the military in the main industrial centers, which kept the Republic from losing the war in a matter of weeks, because the attack was kind of out of nowhere. It was said the speed of action taken by civilians and the militias in a town would decide its fate, whether it would fall to the nationalist coup or wouldn't. Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia are a few examples of ones that they were able to fight back on. The Republic allowed anarchists to take control of Barcelona and parts of Catalonia. And the anarchists got to work defending themselves and cooperatively governing these areas.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of sick, actually.
Kind of tight of them.
And again, this is all still like, obviously everybody's fighting as like the Popular Front, so they're kind of in survival mode at this point. Like, hey, like, let's not fight. We gotta not lose these cities to the fucking nationalist coup that's happening.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was not a cut and dry who would end up being victorious. If the Republic had armed more workers, there was a possibility that the militias could have held their own, and if the coup attempt had been more organized, it's possible that they would have been able to surprise attack the Republic more effectively. The rebels took to calling themselves nacionales, I think is how you say it, which translates to nationalists or true Spaniards, which, is never been used in a negative way ever before.
No.
Especially with if you put like a beige type color before it, like it might be like kind of a racist thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Some kind of light toned
hue, if you will. The Nationalists had about 60,000 soldiers, along with 35,000 African soldiers at the beginning of the war, but it is worth noting that not every part of the military joined with the Nationalist forces. About half of the military stayed loyal to the government and would fight against the other half of the military trying to overthrow it.
Woof.
So, and I feel like that's not too uncommon. I'm sure there were military people that were yeah, I might not love the government, but I'm also not going to stage a coup right now.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't necessarily stoked on the changes, and there might have been military people who were stoked on the changes. I can't speak for a whole military. But,
why don't you?
Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe, am I the speaker of the Spanish military in 1936?
I think you are.
True. God showed me a vision.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
And you were like, hold on, Bill Murray is speaking through me. Or whatever. Who was it?
Bill Murray?
From The Love Has Won.
Oh.
Was it Bill Murray or something like that? No, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
I was going
to say, I don't think Bill Murray is dead
He's
yet.
not dead. I forgot.
But
thank God.
True. Bill Murray is a gem. Ghostbusters? Fucking
absolutely fabulous.
Classic.
Have you seen the new Ghostbusters? By the way, completely off topic, but
the one with all the women or the
newest one with the little girl.
Oh no, I haven't.
It's so good.
Oh, is it?
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's so cute. You gotta
I will watch it. The one that had Melissa McCarthy in it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
and I know that there was a stink about.
No, you're allowed to say it.
Yeah,
listen,
it's not because they're women.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're not a feminist. It just means it's not a fucking good movie.
The editing was awful in it,
yeah,
and
it was
also
shit.
Melissa McCarthy just isn't very funny.
I know. I'm sorry, Melissa, but it's true.
There's just
she's not.
Yeah, there's people that are there's women out there that are way funnier.
Way funnier.
And also, isn't she weird anti-vaxxy too?
Is she? I don't know.
I think she is, which is unfortunate, but.
So many. We've lost so many good soldiers.
You know who else lost a lot of good soldiers? The Republic. What a segue.
That was great.
As in most wars, the nationalist side said they were as in most wars, the nationalist side said that they were fighting against the secular communist influence that had plagued its good Christian society.
Yeah, as they do.
As they do. And the Republic said that it was a war between freedom and tyranny, because, I guess if we're going by the rules, the Republic was the correct government. They were the government, and they were oh well, we won the election, it's us, right?
Yeah.
Whereas again, it's if you're going by the rules, because obviously the
elections are
the communists and the socialists as well as the anarchists both tried to throw overthrows of the government themselves, so it's whatever. But as I've said before, one man's terrorist is another one's freedom fighter, so it's oh good, it's every faction is gonna think that what they're doing is again the freedom fighting or defending whatever.
Yeah.
So you can't judge a conflict by what like they're saying, the opposing sides.
Yeah.
It's you gotta kind of look at what they're doing, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like look at like the I don't know like anti-lockdown people who were like this is slavery, and you're like baby.
Like, not really.
No. But like the way they see it, you know.
Yeah, they think that they think they're fighting for freedom. Mm-hmm. But yeah. But the nationalists wanted to continue an oppressive capitalist system that was starving peasants and wanted the military to take control of the government, whereas the Republic was trying to bring secularism and land equality with representation legislation. Obviously, the Republic wasn't perfect, but, I don't think that it's like a hard... Like, if you look at them, you're like, it's not hard to know who's the asshole. Like,
those peasants deserve to starve. Those peasants, they always wanting food. They're always wanting to not die of starvation.
Wow, yeah. Like, why don't you grow up and get rich?
Why don't you starve yourself some bitches?
Exactly. That is what I've always said to peasants, yeah. So, communist and socialist supporters... communists and socialists supported the Republic, and the anarchists, while part of the Popular Front, were very unified on like not supporting the government because obviously they're not going to be juiced on governments. So like outside of the general cooperation in fighting the war, they were pretty vocal about being like, hey, we don't like you still. And I think that's like, it's kind of like one of those things, because I feel like communists get this way too when like, there's something happens, and especially like with this war particularly, they're like, oh, well, now we have to like do all these things and set up this new government, and we have to like make all these changes. And I feel like the anarchists have that same thing too, where they're like, I know we're fighting this war, but I just want everybody to know that I still fucking hate the government. I still don't want it. I think it's dumb and stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, chill, y'all.
Yeah, like we can kind of figure this out later.
When you're not fighting a fascist army.
Yeah, when you're not like literally in the exact middle of it.
Exactly, yeah. As you may be aware, the Spanish Civil War saw an extreme amount of volunteers coming from other nations on both sides of the conflict. The Nationalists received about 100,000 soldiers in support, and the Republic about 120,000. The only two open supporters of the Republic on an international level were, of course, the USSR and Mexico. Weirdly enough, yeah. Like no other countries, obviously like sent aid kind of like low key if they did, or like we'll find out here, like people in the countries would go and support, whatever. But the only two open supporters of the Republic were the USSR and Mexico. Yeah, weird, huh?
Yeah, a little foreshadowing to my part of this story. Perhaps the Arditi del Popolo had a little something to do with the Spanish Civil War.
Oh, wow, okay. And I guess like maybe it makes more sense because of Spain's influence on Mexico,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, and that would make sense. I kind of didn't actually think about that until just now. Because when I read that, I was like, that's so weird.
Yeah, well, because Spain conquered Mexico, which, I mean, that does kind of surprise me a little bit, because I feel like they would be like, fucking, this is your own problem. But maybe they're kind of seeing it from the point of view of like, oh shit, like this is kind of what we went through.
Yeah.
Let's help out or whatever.
I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Me neither. That would be that'd be something interesting to learn more about.
Sure would be.
Maybe I'll look it up and give you a little update next time.
Book report.
Yeah. Because there was no open support from the USA or Britain or anyone else, the International Brigade was formed in the final months of 1936 to send soldiers to support the Republic. Around this time, the Nationalists received support from Germany and Italy because, because why would that? They're fascists. Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, that's their favorite thing.
Throughout 1936, a lot of the Nationalist leaders died. Like kind of a lot of them, like a weird amount of them. Some from battle, I'm sure, but Emilio Mola, the guy we talked about at the beginning, who like made the plan to do the coup, he died in a plane crash in June of 1937. Which left the only person left to kind of be leader, or kind of the only like high-ranking one, as Francisco Franco, and the leader of the Nationalists. He became the leader of the Nationalist Rebellion. Franco was a devout Catholic and a monarchist who did not approve of the removal of the king's power back in 1931. And what is a dictator but a 20th century king, basically?
Yeah,
and especially like if we're talking like old, like middle-aged kings, like where Middle Ages kings, not like kings who are middle-aged.
In their 40s.
Yeah. I mean, 40, if you made it to 40 back then,
congrats.
You were doing well. But, but yeah, like, they were obviously like kings who had absolute power over everything, like what they said.
Yeah,
went, right. And then again, more into this time, I think we had talked about it last week, but like it was pretty common to see like prime ministers and nobles like kind of take the position where like the king is just like a figurehead or a symbol.
Totally.
But yeah, like that's, he was the dictator, he was the king basically, and he wanted the king to have all the power because people are fucking insane.
People are crazy.
But you know what isn't actually crazy or insane and doesn't want there to be an absolute monarchy?
Absolutely not. They don't. It's Anchor distributing app.
It's Anchor.
Our ad.
Our one ad. Anchor, get us some fucking more ads.
Finger guns to the mic.
Yeah.
By the way, bringing that bit back.
Oh, finger guns to the mic. Yeah, for sure.
Where's our next ad?
I want a new ad. I'm sick of hearing the ad. Maybe we should re-record the Anchor ad because we've had it for a long time.
Just for funsies.
Yeah,
be a little more silly and goofy about it.
Yeah, we did record it like our second episode.
That's true. And my voice was all like messed up.
I mean, yeah. I don't think it was that bad. But.
I sound all hoarse. Listen, check it out, listeners, when the ad rolls in a second here.
Yeah, see how it sounds.
See if my voice is sounding hoarse. Maybe it's sounding hoarse today. Maybe I just am hoarse. Am I a horse?
You are. You're a horse.
What's happening?
That's actually, that's the big podcast reveal, actually.
You've never seen a picture of me.
Phoebe's been a horse the whole time. And then, like, the moment it's revealed, you just, like, start neighing. Like, you don't actually talk anymore.
The rest of the podcast is just me actually being a horse.
Beautiful. Anyway.
Ads.
So we're back. We're talking about how college is a fucking sham.
True. Yeah.
But also, if you've ever written a master's dissertation, good for you.
Congratulations.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, literally that's unhinged.
True. I sweat about writing like a 3-page article every week. And granted, we do a lot of work for the podcast. We got to like research and then write the article. Like there's like a lot that goes into it, but
yes.
But like, that's just and I mean, and I get why people who go to college are like, yeah, this is all I do.
Yeah, like this fucking kind of blows a little bit.
And wouldn't be me. I dropped out.
Yeah, I never even went. So
yeah, it's lit.
What was I? Oh my gosh. Me and Daniel were watching Cheer last night, and there was like something, spoiler alert, by the way, if anybody doesn't want spoilers for the second season, there was something where like one of the people kind of got kicked off because he had like some of the athletes like drinking at his house, and I was like, what's the big fucking deal? And Daniel was like, they're underage. And I was like, wait, how fucking old are you in college? And he's like 18. I was like, what?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just like forget because I didn't go, so I forget how young college people are.
It is weird.
Like, I guess when you start anyway.
Yeah, like eventually I guess you'll like your last year you can drink.
Yeah.
But like also college is known for underage drinking.
I know, which I was kind of like, that's a little extra. Like,
yeah,
I get why like he got in trouble about it, but it's also like, okay.
Like these college kids, yeah. Like my dad told me when he was on a dry campus when he went to college, so you couldn't have alcohol on the campus. He said he had a keg that he'd refill for parties like every weekend. And he'd put a blanket over it and a piece of board on top, and it was like a table until they needed to use the keg again.
That's so funny.
And I was like, that's the most insane shit I've ever heard in my entire life, Dad. My dad, sometimes, like, my dad's hilarious, but sometimes he'll just, like, drop, like, this crazy thing he did when he was, like, a kid. He's like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, one time at this college party, I beer bonked 14 beers straight, and I'm like, how are you not dead, Dad?
Okay? No,
He's
literally
like,
same.
yeah.
Like, yeah, my dad will just like drop these like asinine stories, and you're like, what?
Excuse me.
I do have a funny college story about my dad though. So he went to, speaking of like dry campuses, he went to a Christian college.
Beautiful.
And high house. And it was like spring break or like summer break, so like pretty much everybody was gone. And, like, the night before, I think he, like, went to some party or something, came back to the dorm super drunk, doesn't really know what happened, passed out. Wakes up the next morning, someone's, like, knocking on the door, and he's like, what the fuck? And then the door, like, opens, and it's this, like, young dude, like, really young kid. He's, like, the RA or something. My dad had, like, vomited all over.
Oh, no.
And this kid's like, so I'm just coming in to check mattresses. Is your mattress okay? My dad goes, yeah. Kid goes, all right. Closes the door, leaves.
Oh yeah, I would not want to. I would not want to be in there. Honestly, yeah, I feel like having a sick RA would be like the make or break it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, living on on a campus,
especially like a Christian campus.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like
insane.
Obviously you're drunk, like that's drunk vomit. It's not.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a fucking stomach flu. Like
yeah, and like
but he knew what was up.
When you have a stomach flu, you don't vomit everywhere
and
like
then pass out.
Yeah, like it's not how it works, but. Yeah. All right, we should probably get back into it.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, it's they love it.
They do.
You
know what you're
filthy
here
animals.
for.
You love it.
You sick little bitches.
So with the surge of volunteers on both sides of the battle, I know it won't shock you to know that many prominent authors would write and fight alongside the Republic. This includes the likes of course, George Orwell.
Yeah.
Author.
Fucking boy.
Author of 1984 and Homage to Catalonia.
Yes.
Which is about his time fighting and throwing grenades at fascists.
Beautiful. Which, according to Ben Shapiro, 1984 is actually like a book about
True.
fucking like why capitalism is great or whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's a book about how the left. It's a book about communism. Yeah. And I mean, I'm glad that Ben Shapiro pointed that out because I was very mistaken, and I'm glad that I could correct my ways and know that 1984 is actually about communism
being evil,
which is the side, even though that's the side that George Orwell fought for in this war.
Yes.
It's actually because Ben Shapiro said so. It was about communism being evil.
Ben Shapiro's word is law.
That is what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Who else we got on this all-star list?
Simone Weil, a prominent French activist, philosopher, and mystic, was there. Arthur Koestler, a British Jewish author and journalist. Ernest Hemingway, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Old Man at the Sea. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
He was more of a journalist over there, like a conflict journalist.
Sure.
But, he was there.
That's tight.
There's like a lot of them. It's weird. And finally, one of my personal favorites, Emma Goldman, who actually have a book of anarchist essays downstairs.
Let's go get it.
Yeah. Cancel the podcast. We're just reading.
We're going to go read.
Just reading Emma Goldman.
God, that's so fucking sick.
Yeah, it's tight, huh?
So tight.
Just a bunch of fucking, like, I guess, like, intellectuals. I don't know. Maybe they weren't that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Ernest Hemingway was, like, that intellectually, just, like, wrote a bunch of stories. And maybe I just don't like Ernest Hemingway that much, but like his books, I'm sure he was. Actually, I've heard he was kind of an asshole, so I don't know. Like I have heard that he had like a drinking problem and was like an asshole.
Massive drinking problem. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, did he?
I mean, so I don't know.
But like, so does every single fucking author back in the day. So
I mean, like,
that's like you couldn't be an author if you didn't have like debilitating alcoholism.
Honestly, kind of the same these days too.
That is
because
true.
I don't know.
Being a writer is not easy.
And honestly, like when like you like when your like thing is just like sitting down and writing, like it's so easy to just be like, I'm gonna throw back
totally
fucking 8 beers
10
right
scotches.
now. Yeah, like just because I can,
Exactly.
On the other side, a strange fact I found is that the CEO of the fuel company you may have heard of, Texaco, you know Texaco's?
I do know Texaco.
Was kind of a huge Hitler fanboy. He ran the Hitler Stan Twitter account, is basically what I'm saying. And he would actually give discounted oil to Franco throughout the war, which was illegal to do.
Wow.
Because, Franco was doing a coup on an internationally established government.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, so true.
So true, bestie. Yeah, Texaco is in like Texaco that we know and love today.
Yeah,
Well, maybe not anymore, love, but.
And they did get it like adopted into, I think, Chevron.
I think it is. Yeah, now, but still.
But like back when it was like its own company.
God damn.
He also used his power to help spy on Republic battle plans. So he'd like send in spies and stuff. So next time you see a Texaco, remember to
swerve the other way.
Swerve into it, maybe.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
But don't hurt yourself. That would be mad.
Yeah, maybe go to Shell instead.
Yeah, and
Sevelev.
Pretty sure that no other fuel company has ever done anything bad ever.
Not at all. No. Notoriously, like they're actually really nice and awesome.
Yeah,
and,
nice.
Only do good stuff.
Cool guys. Yeah.
Once again, it's like. So much shit is Nazi shit.
Oh, yeah,
like,
so much.
You trace anything back far enough, Nazis. Every time.
Well, and I just think it, like, unveils, like, this weird curtain of, like, Nazis being, like, really bad. Because it's like, if you were a conservative in the late 1800s to early 1900s, there's a good chance you supported the Nazi party.
Yeah,
like,
straight up.
Again, that's just, like, what... And honestly, there's a big portion of like again American conservative CEOs back then that wanted that for America,
yep.
like
straight up.
So yeah, it just kind of again makes this like it reveals how fascist America actually is.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway. So, obviously, throughout this time, there were battles and atrocities committed by both sides. There was, like, a point in, like, the research to say, like, the Republic also executed people.
Right, of course.
Which, again, it's war. Like, I know there's, like... I think I've said this before, but I feel like the concept of, like, rules of war is dumb because, again, whoever wins the war gets to just, like, make up the history of what happened, right? Like...
Exactly.
The only reason we know about this so much is it was so well documented from all the fucking writers that were there. Yeah. But yeah, so like there is atrocities on both sides, for sure. As it said. This, of course, isn't a military history podcast, so I don't really want to talk about the nitty gritty of the specific battles.
Yeah.
You can look that kind of stuff up on your own.
On Google.
On Google. You have a phone, probably. I don't know I guess you'd be listening to this on a computer, but
true.
It seems like
at
kind
your
of a
public library
pain
if
in
you needed to.
True. Yeah, your government-funded socialist public library. Wild. Socialists and anarchists saw this war as a step in the revolution, whereas the liberals were kind of just trying to protect the government. The former of the groups began to collectivize industry and make social changes. Aside from the bloody, horrific war that was happening all around them, it's hard not to believe that Catalonia had been turned into a true collaboration of commies and anarchos coming together
Absolutely.
To fight the class war and the war against fascism. I know. Along with socializing industry and taking back and cultivating land, abortion was also made legal by the Spanish Socialist Party, Workers' Party.
Yeah, that's so fucking tight.
Which is insane, yeah. And the Popular Front fought side by side with approximately 90 black Americans who had come to help aid in the war effort. This is a quote from Knut Frankson, I think is how you say the first name, Knut Frankson, who joined in 1937 and was a chief mechanic at the International Brigade headquarters in Albacete, Spain. I have to pull up the quote, so stall for a second.
Ooh, hey guys, I love quotes. If there's one thing I love, it's quotes.
I should have gotten this, but...
it's fine. Well, what I love to do on my days off is listen to a fine podcast known as Remarks Podcast. And if that's what you're doing right now, thank you. For viewers like you, thank you. Not stealing PBS's thing.
I think that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that's beautiful.
I think that's beautiful.
Okay.
Hit
and
us.
This is Frankson.
With that quote.
So this is kind of in the middle of one, but he says, "Because we are no longer an isolated minority group fighting hopelessly against an immense giant. Because, my dear, we have joined with and become an active part of a great progressive force. on whose shoulders rests the responsibility of saving human civilization from the planned destruction of a small group of degenerate gone mad in their lust for power. Because if we crush fascism here, we'll save our people in America and in other parts of the world from a vicious persecution, wholesale imprisonment, and slaughter, which the Jewish people have suffered and are suffering under Hitler's fascist heels. All we have to do is think of the lynching of our people. We can but look back at these pages of American history, stained with the blood of, and it's like the, I don't want to say it, but it's the N-word, but like the proper form. I don't know. Stink with the burning bodies of our people hanging from trees, bitter with the groans of our tortured loved ones from whose living bodies ears, fingers, toes have been cut for souvenirs, living bodies into which red-hot pokers have been thrust, all because of a hate created in the minds of men and women by their masters who kept us all under their heels while they suck our blood, while they live in their bed of ease by exploiting us. Snaps.
Woof.
Sorry, I wasn't like, it sounded like I was about to cry. I wasn't. I was just like trying to read as like properly as I could.
I was about to cry.
Yeah, no, it was a very powerful quote there. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, and that was the thing is like, you know, Frankson, he was a chief mechanic. Like he was holding like a high position. Like it wasn't like, and again, I mean, it's not surprising because again, in a lot of leftist circles, race isn't something that divides people. It's class, you know? So these, you know, and there were black people there that probably held positions higher than they would ever hold back in America.
Yeah, right.
Which is kind of crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he speaks truth. It's like everybody's struggles are connected. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, you know, and whether it's, again, like the persecution of black people in America versus the Jews in Europe, like it's, and even back then, you know, they didn't know the exact atrocities that would be committed by Hitler, but everybody knew, like, Hitler's going to fuck up the Jews. Like,
oh, yeah.
So even in 1937 or whatever that was, like, they knew it was going to be fucked.
Yep.
Pretty whack.
Whack indeed.
Well, so moving on here. Being that the Nationalists were an anti-communist, pro-clergy, and pro-conservative capitalist insurgency group, I couldn't find any explicit acts of racism, but I think it's safe to assume that they probably were, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's a stretch.
No.
By 1938, the Republic had about 80,000 volunteers, and the Nationalists had gained about 800,000 volunteers. The Nationalists had gained about 880,000 in volunteers. In December of 1938, they pushed on to Catalonia, forcing the Popular Front to move north towards France. So they just started winning battles and whatnot. There's a few different accounts of how the Republic was doing. Some say that the infighting between the communists and the anarchists and the non-Stalin supporting Marxists led to the lack of discipline and the lack of organization, which was the downfall of the Republic. Others say that the defeat was on the horizon anyway, so it wasn't necessarily because of the fighting.
Right.
Whether or not it was the cause, the infighting was the cause, it definitely didn't help.
Yeah.
Against the quickly approaching nationalist forces that were united under Francisco Franco. So, again, you know, classic fucking leftist infighting.
Yeah.
Being fucking stupid.
As we do. As we fucking do.
On March 5th of 1938, the Republican government fled to France, and by March 28th, all of the Republican armies began to disband. Franco quickly revised much progress that the Republic had made in illegalizing abortion, as well as created a secret police to eliminate political dissent, barred labor unions, and promoted economic self-sufficiency policies. Also illegalized any religion besides Catholicism. So, real good guy.
Yeah.
Franco passively supported Hitler in World War II, but it was not he had just fought this giant civil war. He wasn't really in a good place to provide support. So, again, that's kind of tells you all you need to know. He was a passive Hitler supporter. And that is the story of the Spanish Civil War, the time anarchists and communists argued themselves into losing a war. We should not let that happen again.
Yeah, take note from that, everyone, and move forward in a way that's different, perhaps.
True. And I don't know, like, it's a little, it's hard because I think that anarchism isn't quite as popular as it used to be, mainly because, like, people aren't really as rural or, like, working the land like they used to, So I think that, like, you see a lot more communist and socialist movements nowadays. But,
right.
But I definitely think that, like, because there was also fighting between, like, Soviet Russia, like, pro-Stalin Moscow line communists and, like, non-Stalin supporting Marxists and stuff. So even if, like, you take the anarchists out of the equation, like, there was a lot of fighting going on between all of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They do. They do that.
It's kind of a bummer.
It is.
Kind of a lame time.
Kind of a stupid.
Stupid. Let's do a little Adkowski.
Dizzy Brizzlers?
Dizzy Brizzlers really quick.
Who need they Odysseate?
OMG me. And then we'll come back and Phoebe will take it away.
Fuck yeah.
Let's
do it.
Ads. Alrighty, we're back. We are just as sexy as we were when we left. Oh my god. Don't you worry.
If not more.
Definitely more, actually.
I think every ad break, we get sexier.
True.
Just like with every episode.
Yeah. Something about, like, shilling products that really just, like, gives you that capitalist glow.
Oof, yes, absolutely.
Truly.
Are y'all ready to hear about this Italian anti-fascist group?
I'm so ready.
You may remember from last week called I don't know why I'm doing this in a intense intro. The Arditi del Popolo.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to get into, we kind of talked about who they are and their really sick, like, insignia that they had. And, like, why did they exist? Because of all of the fascism that was going on, mostly. So what did they do? So the ADP, who had been very successful at organizing and protecting groups on a small scale, had several interactions where the power of an organized and passionate people truly showed. So for the most part, like, they were small scale protection and, like, smaller interactions, but they had some, like, larger notable interactions. So on June 19th, 1921, the ADP infiltrated a meeting of Mussolini's fascists, holding them hostage. They held them for a day or so before the royal... Sorry, I choked a little. Before the Royal Guard, who was the official army for Italy in the 1920s, tried to end the attack. But the ADP was prepared and managed to force the Royal Guard to surrender, which this is, like, a huge fucking deal. This was a huge victory for our boys. Not only had they interceded in a fascist planning meeting and held them hostage, but had also forced an actual army battalion to surrender. A battle between these two groups went on for several days, with more and more police joining the fight alongside the fascists. And then eventually the ADP had to retreat just due to the sheer size of the police force that ended up coming to this.
That's hardcore as fuck.
Rally.
Honestly.
They're so fucking hardcore. It's so cool.
They're like, oh god, just being like, bitch, we fucking outgunned your police force.
Yeah, like
oh,
the
shit.
Royal Guard, who
Yeah,
was like
insane.
the fucking, like, the literal army.
The lads, yeah.
And they were like, surrender. And then they did.
Wild.
So, fuck yeah. One of their other notable interactions in the city of Sarzanza, it was actually members of just, like, people who lived in the city who had captured one of the fascist leaders, whose name was Renato Ticci. And so, sorry, I just lost my place a little bit. And so a squad, part of the black shirts, came to try and rescue this guy. And so then the ADP stepped in, and they were able to, like, defeat these guys. They forced them out and killed supposedly around 20 fascists, probably more. And the leader said, quote, "The squad, so long accustomed to defeating an enemy who nearly always ran away or offered feeble resistance, could not and did not know how to defend themselves." So he's basically saying, like, the people who would usually try to fight against the fascists were never as prepared as the ADP was, or wouldn't actually stand up to them. They would have a belief that they disagreed with what the fascists were doing, but would never actually stand up to the fascists the way that the ADP did. And because of this, the fascists weren't prepared to fight back against them.
Yeah.
Like, which it's like, yeah, don't fucking get comfortable in your power, guys.
Well, and it's just like, because it's just funny, because literally nothing has fucking changed. Because, like, I just feel that's the same fucking shit with, like, the Proud Boys. Like, they, like, have this tough talk or whatever, but, like, when you fucking punch one of them in the face, they don't know what to do, and they all run away because they're little fucking wimps, dude.
Exactly.
Like, it's I don't know, again, fascists and really just the entire alt-right is just a bunch of, like, LARPing dudes who think they're super cool, and then you actually, like, stand up to them and they're like, never mind.
Yeah, dorky.
They're dorks. They're fucking dorks.
They are. They just think they're so cool with their black shirts.
Yeah. Nice black shirt, loser. Heard of colors?
You heard of colors? Their biggest success was in Parma, Italy in August of 1922. A group of about 350 ADP who were led by veterans from World War I, Antonio Circi and Guido Picelli. Picelli. There was a group of 20,000 fascists.
Wow.
Who were like basically guarding this city, taking hold of this city, and just with the 350 ADP members, they defeated them and defended the city against them.
Insane.
Yeah.
And again, just kind of goes to show how fucking fascists are dorks and they're wimps, dude.
Yeah, like the passion of what the anti-fascists have is far greater than like your fucking stupidness.
You're stupid LARPing motherfucking assholes. Yeah. No, it's true. And I think that's like just I say the same with like the Spanish Civil War. It's like they were just militias that were fighting off this actual military, but you're fighting for your home.
Right, exactly.
You're going to fight harder than you are if you're, again, some fucking kid who got a black shirt from Daddy Mussolini and is now going to a city to bully some old people or whatever.
Exactly, because like I feel like a lot of the people who were part of like this squadistry or part of like these these fascists like militaries they don't actually care that much about what they're fighting for. Yeah. Like they're just doing it because it's like, oh, this is, where I am, or this is what my parents believe, or I'm in this class of person. And so that puts me here. And I hate, whatever race or whatever thing, but it's like you don't have the same passion that the people on the other side are fighting for, which is literally like their life and their rights and their home country. Yeah. So truly.
And if you're on like the winning side of a battle, you're probably going to fight a little bit less.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because for these people, I mean, for the ADP and all of the other people that they're like protecting, for those townspeople that captured that the fascist leader, like they have literally nothing to lose because everything's already
in power. Yeah. Like there's nothing else.
And so like when you have nothing to lose, you have everything to win.
Exactly.
Like literally. And so you can, with just 350 members, defeat a 20,000 group of fascists.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Insane. Notable people who were in this group of 20,000 fascists: Roberto Farinacci, who he would eventually join the Grand Council of Fascism. So that's fun.
Is that an actual thing?
Yeah.
Oh my, it is. That's insane. I know. I want to look up all the people on there.
Yeah. And then Italo Balbo, who was like one of the main people who organized the March on Rome, which was when Mussolini took power in Italy. Following this, the ADP started, they kind of had like an uptick in members and an uptick in like force. But then very soon following that is when some fucking fuck shit went on, from the socialists. So following Parma, ADP started getting more members. They started having like an actual more of a movement. But the PSI, who was the Socialist Party in Italy at the time, they signed a pact of non-aggression with the fascists.
What?
Yeah.
Weird.
Fucking.
Well, and I
jerks.
guess I understand that, like, yeah, like fascism was pretty new, but yeah, that's just a strange move.
Yeah, which they had been like basically previously teamed up with the ADP. Like the ADP was all kinds of leftists, like
it was
anarchists.
The whole Popular Front.
Yeah. And so it was like, I don't know, it's kind of the same thing. The whole reason why the ADP formed was because they felt like the socialists were too complicit, or really anyone, any of the other existing parties were too complicit. So they joined forces with people from all of these other parties and was like, let's fucking fuck some shit up.
We need to be together because we're not going to do it. Like, if we're all separate, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And then, so then the PSI signs this pact with the fascists, and so then anyone who was part of the PSI or was socialist at all who was part of the ADP had to withdraw, and then that caused like quite a few other members of different organizations to then also leave the ADP.
Weird, y'all. Weird. Maybe a little solidarity is like what we need, and not being divided over dumb shit all the time. A little class solidarity in there. Can I get some class solidarity, people?
Come on.
You're killing me, Kramer.
You're killing me, Kramer. Where's the class solidarity?
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the union leaders, Mattiati, who was sort of formerly part of the ADP, in a union paper that was going around at the time, he posted, "Stay at home, do not respond to provocations, even silence, even cowardice are sometimes heroic," basically telling members of the Socialist Party, members of the union, like, don't get involved with what the ADP is doing with these fights.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's just, it's like, that like Mussolini hates unions, right? Like,
exactly.
He's gonna destroy all the, like, you're a union leader. I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, he's not here for you either.
No, definitely not. And you're not going to be, like, spared just because you, like, sign this treaty agreement, because they never are, like.
Yep. Then the communists went on to kind of betray the ADP as well. Come on, you guys. They pretty much, like, it's kind of weird. So they formed their own, like, class conscious squadrons. I don't know. Basically, they kind of tried to form, like, their own separate party from this. And they said that they felt like the ADP was kind of trying to create, like, this central power, which they literally weren't. Like, it was quite the opposite. Anyway, and so then by that point, like, only 6,000 members of the ADP remained, and that's really when things kind of started to completely dissolve.
Go down.
However, this is when, like I winked to earlier, members of the ADP now who, like, felt like, what the fuck are we gonna do? A lot of them did go over to Spain and fight with the Popular Front over there.
It was kind of a losing battle in Italy, so they were like, let's go try to save Spain.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I have all of this anarchist energy in me. And then my favorite little bit, and just sort of the ending to the Mussolini story. So unfortunately, yeah, following all of this, pretty much the ADP ceased to exist at this point. And as I was telling Taylor before the break or earlier, there's actually not a ton of information on the ADP. I got as much as I could, but they didn't exist for very long. It was 1918 to 1922. Oh, wow. So it was like Mussolini at the height of his power. That was really when they like developed. And then it was like pretty quickly after that, it was just like there was just too much infighting per usual. And then just the fascist powers were way too strong. But the ending of our Mussolini story, he was captured by why did the name of the fucking Allies, that just like left my brain. He was captured by the Allies and killed by firing squad on April 28th, 1945. That's at least what is thought to be true. There's actually like some conflicting stories, but that's like what's most commonly reported. So kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, it's like there are people who think that Hitler is alive still, like, and it's like, first of all, no, like, because there's like weird conspiracy dudes who are like, well, Russia, the Soviet Union was the first ones to like get to where Hitler was, so like we don't know what Russia did with Hitler. And it's like, I don't think that Russia would have let Hitler stay alive, like, and like what, like snuck him into Russia. And like, I don't,
what are they gonna do?
Yeah, and like, yeah, if you want to talk about Russia and America taking Nazi scientists, sure, they did that, but like, I don't think that of all the people, I don't think that Hitler would have like survived the trial and whatnot, because obviously that would be, it just is a dumb conspiracy theory, I think. And he'd be old as shit. He'd for sure be dead. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, he's if he was alive, he's not there
definitely
anymore,
not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, what, is he hanging out with fucking Tupac?
And Elvis.
Come on, you guys.
Come on. Get real.
Get real. So, captured, shot by firing squad. Here's my favorite part of the story.
All right.
So, the body of Mussolini was taken into the center of the Piazzale Lortello. All right. I hope I said that right. In Milan. Thrown into the center of the square for crowds to come and see and kick and spit on him.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
That's wild. Yeah, but that's how I want to go.
Oh yeah. Well, it gets worse. So they throw his body into the center of the piazza. They let everybody basically do what they want to do to it, kick, spit, whatever. And then they take his body, string it upside down from like the roof of this like gas station or something at the time that was in the piazza. And then he hung there next to like a bunch of other fascist assholes.
Italy dudes.
Yeah, fascist Italy dudes.
Fucking fascist Italy dudes.
Yeah. And I hope...
Good.
That's
all, yeah.
Honestly, good. I hope that members of the ADP got to be there.
Oh, I'm sure they were. I don't know, though, because Mussolini had a pretty good run throughout World War II.
That's true, yeah, because that was 45 by the time he was killed. So.
But also, like, I'm sure a lot of them... maybe by that time had gone back to Italy. Who knows? Because, again, a lot of them went to Spain, right? And they were there until Spain fell in 1938, and then who knows what they did after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a time to be an anti-fascist. Like, 1930 to, 1945. You really be fighting all the fascist fights.
There was shit was wow.
I mean, that was the fascist revolution.
The time to be a fascist, really.
Well, and because even with Spain and Franco, after Hitler and Mussolini like fell and were killed or they were defeated, he was thought to be the last fascist nation until whatever happened later on. I didn't look that far ahead.
That wasn't in my
it was not in my job description for this week, y'all. Give me a break.
I have things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like you don't see shit like that anymore. You know, they don't throw the bodies of fascist dictators into the streets to let the crowds of people do whatever they want to do to them. They just don't do it like they did anymore.
Back in the day, they don't humiliate dictators like they used to.
I think maybe bring it back.
Maybe bring back humiliating fascist dictators post-death, post-mortem.
Post-mortem, yeah. I support it.
That's like, yeah, I mean, if someone's a fascist, like, I think the firing squad idea, like, with the atrocities, obviously, from, like, World War II, it's like, yeah, those are the kind of people that you don't even, like, give Hitler and Mussolini a trial, you execute them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, there's no question.
Yeah, there's no question on, like, how long should they serve in prison? It's again, I feel like that's the kind of people that you just shoot. You just shoot them.
Just shoot them. Yeah.
Like that level of atrocities, like you just shoot them. Mm-hmm, There's people who exist in the world now who we should just shoot.
Yeah.
Like, I know that
not naming names.
International politics is more difficult than that, but but like, who's the dictator of Syria? Like Al-Assad or something. His name.
Yes.
He should be shot. Just shoot him. He's a piece of shit.
Let's just shoot him. But yeah, all of that being said, like, despite the disillusion of the ADP, and also, I mean, much like what happened with the Spanish Revolution as well, it's like, still look at what happened. Like, with 350 people, they defeated a squad of 20,000 fascists. Like, hold on to those ideas and understand that, like, the power that we do have as people can be overwhelming, and it can be, like, powerful, regardless of the fact that they don't exist anymore. What they did had impact, and what they did changed the course of things in a positive way. So yeah, don't get discouraged by, like, the ending of these stories, because, like, fascists are powerful, but so are we.
Oh yeah, and as much as, like, we were joking about it earlier, like, there is something to be said for class solidarity and, like, just solidarity of people. Like, that shit is more powerful than, like leaders don't want you to know how much power you have when you are in solidarity.
Exactly. Like, and I feel like the thing is like, yeah, while we all fucking argue on Twitter and shit, like, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, like, we're all out there. Like, at that point, like, when shit's going down, we're not arguing in the moment of like fucking whatever. Like, shit I think seems a bit more bleak because we have so much access to everybody's stupid fucking thoughts.
Exactly.
Says me with a podcast. But, like, at the end of the day, like, we come together, and let's keep doing that.
Yeah, but I feel like we've made it a good point on the podcast too to not, like, bicker about, like, things that don't fucking matter, you know?
Exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, like, I feel like we've always tried to make it a point that, like, the reason why we are doing this and, like, we do this, like, the podcast and have these beliefs is because we, like, care about people.
Yeah.
And we want to see a better world.
Period.
And it's not, you know, like, I'm not going to sit here and fucking argue with some communist about, like, which form of government's better when there's fascists taking things over and fucking up people's lives, you know?
Like, I enjoy having those conversations, but it's like, at the end of the day, like, no, I'm here to try and defeat the evil powers that are killing all of us.
Yeah, make people's lives better.
Yeah, like, that's why we're out here. Class solidarity, baby.
Yeah, there's a good Pete Seeger song called Solidarity Forever. Gets me stoked. Gets me juiced. Should listen to it.
Juiced on communism. Check it out.
Check it out,
you guys.
Also, check out our Twitter.
Very smooth.
At Remarks Pod.
And check out our Instagram at Remarks Podcast. Also, check out our TikTok of the same name at Remarks Podcast.
We have we're on Apple Podcasts, so you could leave us a review.
You really could.
You really should.
You totally could and
you
should.
Could and should. And then, of course, we would be remiss
if we didn't name
our
lovely,
patrons.
Beautiful patrons who subscribe to our Patreon, $5 a month fucking bonus episodes. We're about to record one right now that I think is going to be really fucking funny.
It's going to be fucking
I'm
hilarious.
feeling some gigs.
Mm-hmm. And again, like, up. I feel like the best time to watch a bonus episode would be right after a bummer episode.
Absolutely, yeah. A bonus-ode after a bummer-sode.
Exactly, because, then you just get a little upliftinator, you know? As
and
they say.
By watch, you mean watch with the cockles of your ears.
Yeah, that's probably what I should have said, but... Anyway, I kind of, like, know all our patrons, but I still feel the need to, like, pull them up on my phone just so I like, don't get anything wrong.
See them
I don't know.
in front of our eyeballs. Oh, hey, wait, before we do this, also, Taylor, do you have a YouTube channel people can subscribe to?
I do have a YouTube channel. It's called The Lefty Agenda.
It's some good shit.
Yeah, it's a podcast for your eyes.
It is. That one you can watch.
That one you can watch, yeah. I'm, again, slowly but surely working on a new video, so that should be out in probably like a week or maybe 2.
Fuck yeah.
Depends on when I finish it.
Yeah, if you're needing some little extra, if you have maxed out all of your Patreon listens and all of your listens to our regular podcast episodes, go check out Taylor's YouTube channel. Also, do that even if you haven't done all that anyway, because it's really great.
Thank you.
All right, who was our patrons?
Our patrons, I'm going to start top to bottom this time. We got Andrew Vass.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Love you.
We have
enjoy DC.
Jameson Cherry. Sexy boy.
Sexy lad. Emily Doran, our fave.
Yeah. And we got Justin Vass, the boy wonder.
The boy wonder.
Justin Vass.
Justin Vass, the boy chin wonder.
Boy chin wonder. Yeah, Justin Vass, superstar.
That is what we've always called him, yeah.
Oh, always.
I've never called him anything else, yeah.
No. Well,
anyway.
Thanks for listening. And, Kay,
love you. Bye.